All right, so I checked out this new film, Hustle, on Netflix. It's an Adam Sandler film. It's a Happy Madison's production, but also has a bunch of other people involved, other talent involved in the production of it, including LeBron James, which is pretty interesting. So it's not surprising when you hear what this film is about and some of the people involved in the cast. But so this just came out June 8th on Netflix. I think it was a limited release in theaters before that, but then, released fully on Netflix on June 8th. And stars Adam Sandler and, see if I can pronounce this correctly. the other star is Juancho Hernan Gomez. Yeah. Anyway, so I apologize if I'm pronouncing that horribly. Adam Sandler in this film plays Stanley Sugarman, and he is this kind of ex-basketball star, never really made it pro, but now works as a talent scout for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he's like the golden child of talent scouts for this team. Like, they rely on him heavily for finding fantastic players. And Robert Duvall plays the owner of the team, and he's like, Stanley's like his main man. Well, Stanley always wanted to be a coach. That's what he really wants to do. He wants to actually be out there coaching the game, not necessarily being a talent scout, even though he's very good at scouting talent. So it's been like his lifelong dream, but now he's in his mid-50s, and his career's winding down, and he might get this one last chance to be an assistant coach, but what ends up happening is some new some new owners kind of take over the reins of the team. I don't want to give away too much in case you haven't seen it, but someone else is in charge of making the decisions, and all of a sudden, where he was going to become assistant coach of the team, finally, now he's kind of put back in the position of talent scout, hinging on him bringing in a fantastic athlete. If he can go out and find a superstar somewhere around the world, then he can go back to his assistant coach position, but they need him to do this like one mission, right? So they send him out, and he just happens by this like street baller in Spain who doesn't play professionally in Spain, doesn't play collegiately in Spain, but this 22-year-old phenom. And it's just like magically, he considers him a unicorn, right? It's what they call him. It's like the perfect athlete, right? That no one's heard of. And this is the story of he basically brings this guy back, and he's trying to get him on the 76ers roster, but the new ownership is not really interested in this guy. They've got their eyes on someone else. They're not really interested in this player, but Stanley really believes in this player, and it's just a really great film. It's like one of those fantastic like feel-good sports films, right? They've got all that like training montage and like overcoming the odds and just all the great things that you get from like one of those sports films. You almost feel like it's a true story, but it's not. It's a fictionalized story, but it's written in a way that feels very realistic. And with the cast of characters, like the extended cast of characters, everyone in the background of this film makes it feel even more realistic, because this film is chock full of NBA stars, past and present, as themselves throughout the film. It makes it feel like it's very much in our world. The likes of like Shaquille O'Neal. As I said, LeBron James was a producer on the film. You've got Dr. J showing up in this thing. Oh my God, there's just so many players from I'm not even a big basketball guy. I think I've discussed this before when I was talking about the Bulls documentary. But I'm not even a huge basketball guy, but these are names that everyone knows from basketball history, and just even in the past 10, 20 years of basketball and present day players. It's crazy how many people they got to be involved with this thing. And yeah, I can't say enough about it. I enjoyed it so much. And, you would think with a lot of the basketball films that I enjoy and basketball documentaries I enjoy that I would be a huge basketball fan, but I'm just not. I'm a huge fan, though, of, underdogs and overcoming the odds. And I like sports stories in general. So, if it happens to be basketball, cool. I'm just not a big fan of actually watching the sport on television or going to games. But yeah, fantastic story of kind of overcoming the odds. Like I said, trying to get the NBA interested in this guy that no one's ever heard of, that kind of has a worrisome background that the NBA coaches kind of or owners don't want to take a chance on. But it's just a great story. Just the story that you go through with Stanley and finding out his story, and a great cast of characters in this thing too, besides like I said, the NBA stars that are in it. It's also chock full of awesome talent. You've got Queen Latifah playing Adam Sandler's wife, Stanley's wife, Ben Foster as the new owner of the team, Robert Duvall as the previous owner of the team and father of the Ben Foster character. And it's just, dude, Jaleel White shows up in this thing. He's not in a whole lot, but it's like, man, Jaleel White, Urkel? I haven't seen this guy in stuff in a long time, and maybe that's just because I haven't been looking for him, but, it's crazy. It's crazy to see him. But I really enjoyed this thing. I think Rotten Tomatoes has got it. The audience score is like 90-something%. I think it's like maybe 70-something critic score, but, whatever. Fuck the critics. I mean, that's still that's a ripe score. So, but I really enjoyed it. I've been enjoying a lot of Adam Sandler's serious work lately, and I love that he always sprinkles in his brand of comedy into the characters that he plays, even if they're super serious. Like Uncut Gems was chock full of little funny one-liners that the main character like threw out there that you could just tell were very Sandler-esque, right? And same thing with this. Really great heartfelt story. It's a great story of the player, which I don't even think I mentioned it. The player's name that he recruits is Bo Cruz, the guy from Spain that he recruits. And it's a great story with him. He's a single father, and this could mean great things for him, getting drafted in the NBA. And, it's this back and forth of like getting your hopes up and then having them crushed and then having one more chance. And I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I'm really enjoying Adam Sandler's dramatic acting in the last few years. I know he's done some other dramatic acting throughout the last 20 years, but just especially in the last few years, and especially in the Netflix stuff that he's put out. And that Uncut Gems was really great. But I put this up there with that as well. I think this is a fantastic dramatic film with a bit of comedy sprinkled in. And like I said, a lot of like heartfelt stuff, a lot of feel-good stuff. And just that, the Rocky training montage that they work into this thing. It's got all the things of a classic, great, feel-good sports film. So if you're into that sort of thing, go check it out. It's called Hustle. It's on Netflix. I was reluctant at first, just because, like I said, I don't know, it just didn't pique my interest. It was about basketball. But I'm like, it's Adam Sandler. I'll give it a shot. And I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed this thing. So I'd love to hear what you guys think if you've seen it, or if you happen to watch it after watching this or listening to this. I'd love to hear what you think of the film. I thought it was great. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening in podcast form. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram and just reach out and let me know what you thought of it. And we can have a back and forth. I love talking with people about this stuff. So, yeah. And if you're interested in stuff like this where I talk about movies, TV shows, entertainment, pop culture, all that sort of stuff, that's pretty much what I do here on a regular basis with a few stories from my questionable youth sprinkled in for good measure. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, please subscribe for more, or favorite or follow the podcast. And if you do decide to stick around and favorite, follow, or subscribe, then I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks.